Someone said we got mute on. Good evening.
And good
Finally,
evening.
exactly. Wow, our mute was on. That's not on anymore. I hate when that happens, don't you?
I know, but that's
Yeah, it
okay.
really does.
We're gonna get that taken care of,
We did. We already did.
and yes, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna get that happening taken care
So
of.
we want people to what? Share alike. Where's my share button? I'm looking for my
I
share
don't
button.
know, but in the meantime, while you're looking for your share button, the thing that we are wanting you to share is
Mm-hmm.
taking the journey together.
Exactly.
I am Zare or Sharon,
And I'm Imar or Craig.
and we are taking the journey together.
Hey, we want you to share it with your friends, share it with your
Lovers,
lovers, share it with your who?
parents,
And
children,
yes, share it with
next door
your
neighbor.
mailman, postman, and don't forget your enemies. Share it, share alike. We're
Yes.
gonna wait as you share alike, so we can get right into our topic. Wow, and what a weekend it has been.
Oh,
What oh no not weekend. What a week it has
week.
been.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, politics has been crazy as can be, hasn't it? You
Yes.
know, dad against son, son against dad. Oh my God.
Politics is crazy
It
all the time.
is. You ever heard
Yes.
those saying the sins of the father visited the son?
Yeah, it makes me glad I'm a daughter. You know.
Oh my goodness, unbelievable what's been going on
Yes.
politics. That has to do with relationships too. What relationships that is.
Yes.
And so I can imagine how it's affecting people's relationships too at the same time. Can you imagine how
Yeah.
it's affecting relationships, splitting families apart, or at
Definitely.
least people taking sides in
Hmm.
families?
And
Wow.
taking it too seriously,
Yeah.
because at the when all is said and done, you're
Hmm.
going to have to find a way to live with that person that you have gone into a long-term relationship with. In that agreement, you're going to have
Hmm.
to find a way to to deal with that difference, that point where you're not compatible, and
Yes.
find that happy medium in order to keep things going.
Hmm. Hmm.
And and if you take your politics so seriously that you can't have a you can't agree to disagree sometimes,
Hmm.
that's going to make for a very difficult relationship as well.
Could be dark and could become doomed forever.
Divorce.
Yeah, divorce,
Dark doomed divorce.
divorced, or
Yeah.
living separately as two dead people in the same house,
Yeah, well,
really not even connected to one
divorced,
another.
you just haven't done it legally.
Abuse, no,
Yeah,
domestic abuse can come out of that
that's
too,
true too.
from that end. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. um I'm thinking about how in that particular matter it's going to make people having a hard time to continue in the in matter of relating.
Exactly.
And what do we usually say when it comes
And
to relating?
that's what I was just getting ready to say.
Yeah, what's our
That's
motto? What's our mission? What's our statement
We
about
are
that?
going to relate.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't matter what your mother, father, sister, brother, or even Jesus says, we are
Uh-huh.
going to relate.
Okay.
But
Mm-hmm.
taking the journey together, we disavow the idea of we can be friends or we can be lovers, but we can't be lovers
You
and
have a
friends.
hard
I
time
know,
with that
because
today.
that one I had just kind of thrown out of my mind, but I heard
Uh-huh.
you say it the other day, and I was like, okay, let me see if I can revise that one. I'll
Oh.
marry my lover, but not my friend.
Uh-huh.
And that's where the problem is. We
Mm-hmm.
want you to marry your lover and your friend.
Yes,
By starting
exactly.
off in a friendship and building that strong foundation of a friendship, and
Mm-hmm.
taking it into a lovership,
Mm-hmm.
and marrying your friend and your lover.
Exactly. Marry your friend and your lover.
So that, and if you're married to your friend and you have differences with politics and things like that, which we
Mm-hmm.
were just mentioning,
Mm-hmm.
at least there is some level of camaraderie where you can deal with it, and it's
Yeah.
not going to be the end of everything just because you're not agreeing with who's in office or who to vote for or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
There's a saying that says in politics, there's not any permanent enemies or not any permanent friends. There's only permanent interests.
Yes.
So
Yes.
in a relationship, we should not be thinking of ourselves as being a permanent enemy, and we should not think of ourselves as being permanent politics.
Yeah.
We should think about ourselves as being permanent what? Friends.
Friends. Yeah.
That should be our center interest,
Exactly.
is
Exactly.
being permanent friends. And what a work it is to be permanent friends,
It
real friends.
definitely
It
is.
is. It's a work to do. Society doesn't make it too well. Sometimes there's cultural difficulties
Hmm.
to make it, and when it's very, very
Yeah.
uncomfortable. We kind of talked about that before,
Hmm.
and we still find that uncomfortability of being able to love each other in such a way where we feel strongly. It's okay to be a friend.
Right.
I think the lack of real examples of friendship, especially in
Hmm.
some cultures, our Black culture too, a lot, it makes it very uncomfortable for us to be friends. We don't have too many examples. Since we're talking about that right now, what shows do you remember where they showed Black couples, whether it's older or younger, on TV, that those two actually operated as friends, not quasi friends,
Hmm.
knowing that they were looking for really something wrong in
Yeah.
one another,
Not
waiting for
adversaries.
it, and boom,
Yeah.
I know you've been guilty all this time and you will never be able to prove yourself innocent. But you could tell they were just basically friends, period, and just work through the difficulties of life. Which ones
Hmm.
can you think of?
Um,
And maybe those
you
who
know,
are listening out there too, maybe you could, come up and think of that too at the same time. What?
the only one that I can come up with,
Hmm.
and I think this is one of the reasons why it was so endearing to so many people, is
Hmm.
the Cosby Show.
I just knew she was going to
Because,
come
but
up with the
well, because
Cosby Show. I don't
I
know how good of that is an example for
well,
most people who are
because
out there,
here's the
the
thing.
Cosby Show, but I
But
knew
here's
you
the thing.
was.
You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Uh-huh.
Regardless of what has come out about
Mm-hmm.
him in, after that,
Mm-hmm.
that show should stand alone without it being connected to his personal
I mean,
lifestyle.
well, there's no doubt
The
about it. When the show
writing,
was made, it was the most watched
hmm
sitcom ever history when
yeah,
it comes
yeah,
to example of a Black family who basically act like they had some common sense or some kind of sense and wisdom with one another. And certainly those two had a professional kind of career, and they certainly seemed to relate to each other as
yeah,
friends. And that kind of example, I guess, really rang chimes or vibed is probably a better word,
hmm
with people all over the country and around the whole world.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about it. What other example have you had of that?
Hmm.
Um, um, you can't say amen. You can't say, um, um, oh, what was that other show? You can't
What was
say. I
Amen?
mean, Good Times. Good
What
Times
was
was okay.
Amen?
The one with Sherman Hensley and the man that was on the Jeffersons.
No.
He had a show with his daughter. There was no camaraderie in that.
Okay.
Everybody was pitted against each other. I
Okay.
guess you could say um, Good Times, but they
Okay.
had a good relationship.
Yeah, they
Now that I
seem to
think
have a good
about it,
one. Yeah.
um, but that was it.
Mm.
First of all, there were not a lot of Black shows
Mm-hmm.
that showed family life. There
Yes.
were a lot of single parents.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of dating.
Mm-hmm.
But there was not a lot of Black relationships that were built on something worthwhile.
Mm.
Even when you talk about the Jeffersons, they were always nipping at each other.
I would have never
You know,
used the Jefferson as example
no, I'm just saying
of
a
those two being
couple.
friends, but
No,
just as
they
a
they
couple,
weren't.
older
That's what
couple.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That was a couple show, but they were
Mm-hmm.
nipping at each other.
Yeah.
All of the Black shows, except for I will say Good Times
Okay.
and the Cosby Show,
Mm-hmm.
they were nipping at each other
Mm.
constantly, bringing each other down, saying negative things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a joke, but jokes hurt too sometimes.
Yeah, nipping does too. When little dogs nip at me, I can have a problem with them. Seriously. Now, why are you
Yes.
nipping at me, you little nippers? I'm always amazed the kind of words you come up nipping. Okay. Okay. Here's the show I was thinking about. Maybe folks out there listening to it say, hey, again, no question is dumb, no thought process is dumb. Hey, we're talking about compatibility today. Anyway, we're going to go into this is number 3. So I hope you liked the last time we talked about compatibility. We were open about all the lifestyles and things
Mhm.
that with compatibility. So please, if you got any questions, got any concerns, please
Or
let us
any
know
any
about it.
statements that
Or
you
any
want to
statements.
share.
Don't be afraid whatsoever. This is an open, transparent show.
Yes.
This is definitely hot button. Remember what hot stands for. Honest, open, and transparent. Thing that you got to be in that
He
relationship.
beat me to
Definitely.
it this time.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. And we're talking about compatibility to part
Yes.
3 too. So the show that I was thinking about was of all of the story. If I could play
Was
it right
what?
now, this is a story upside down.
Oh God.
Fresh
Prince of
Prince
Bel
of Bel
Air.
Air. Those two, as for the example
Yes.
of that mother and father,
Yeah. You
for
know
them,
what?
they were
I
definitely
forgot
operating as
about that
friends.
show.
Yeah.
I did forget
Yeah,
about that
yeah,
show.
they definitely
Yes.
operated. Every one of them they placed in there
Yes.
examples
Yes.
were very good friendship
Hmm.
and
And
relationship
the
wise.
thing about that, and this is gonna sound like a
Mm-hmm.
negative, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
They had disagreements
Mm-hmm.
and they got angry with each other,
Yeah.
but they didn't just let the relationship lay in that anger and that
Mm-hmm.
disagreement.
Mm-hmm.
They worked it out, came together, apologized, looked at,
Mm-hmm.
at the fact that it had happened, and you didn't get the sense that they um, kept rubbing it in the other person's face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of purpose that they
Mhm.
presented, exposed, and then acted upon, whether
Yes.
because of his judge position.
Mhm.
And what did she do? I'm sorry, a teacher
She
at
was
one
a
time?
teacher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So both of them
A
had
professor.
exactly both of them had purposes career wise in their life,
Mhm.
but they also felt they had purposes as a man and a woman,
Mhm.
as friends, to present in life when it came to the children that they were raising together.
Right.
But it was also to other people that they related to.
Mhm.
So purpose, reason, and the expression of it to get back in the community had a lot to do with the connection that they also possessed in the
Right.
relationship. Okay. And I think that's
Yes.
also important. Sometimes, because we don't get much example anyways with
Mhm.
black folks on TV whatsoever. Sometimes the relationship will be mostly just one dimensional.
Right.
You know, I don't know what job you have. You don't really show no purpose whatsoever.
Mhm.
But we just loves each other.
Yeah.
But we
Today.
exactly. But
Tomorrow might be another story.
exactly because there's
Yes.
no real depth
Mhm.
to that
Yes.
person. They're very
Yes.
the people are very shallow in
Mhm.
the relationships, and
Yes.
we don't want to talk about the other shows that we know that presented, like we were talking about with some couple this weekend
Yeah.
about another particular series of show that just came out not too long ago.
Yeah, we
That was
won't go
it
there.
was different, definitely as shallow as could be, which is a usual
Mhm.
way to catch
Yes.
money and all that other good
Yeah.
stuff. But there's no doubt about it that the more depth that is expressed by you as a person
Mhm.
and as two people, the more connections that you can make, the more binding that you can make between one another. And no doubt about it, if friendship is that basis, then all those other connections are even that much more opened and more capable
Right.
in order for you to bind, express, and go on. And that comes under the heading that we're talking about right now, called compatibility.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was leading up to that.
Yes.
Compatibility. Some people
Compatibility.
listen to, I know he's going.
Yeah.
I know him. I've heard him before. Yeah, I'm leading to compatibility because
Yeah.
that's what we're still talking about.
Mhm.
And we talked about compatibility is for a healthy relationship. It's people of similar views. They
Yes.
comprehend each other's perspectives in life.
Mhm.
They're being compatible. Could help get along with yourself and others.
Right.
Even in contrasting opinions,
Mhm.
because of those other things, it brings a good understanding with one another and strong acceptance. And
Yes.
and it brings that interdependence. And when you think about the two shows we're talking about, you could see all of those play out
Mhm. Yes, you
in
could.
those shows. I wish we could present more of those relationship shows in the different streaming that now is being used for a lot of people to look at, or the over the air shows, CBS, NBC, and the rest of them.
Mm.
We could have some more positive shows. What do you think about the one called Blackish that's on ABC? And that's a couple. You blinked your eyes. I didn't know what that meant, but
Oh no, because something was in my eye.
okay. So,
Okay.
have you seen Blackish?
I
It's
have.
it's Diane Ross's
Diana
daughter
Ross. Yes.
in what's his name? There used to be. He's not a comedian.
Anderson.
I can't. If
Oh
anybody
gosh.
remembers his name, you can go ahead and put
Yeah.
down his name for
Yeah, I
us.
cannot remember
But
his name. I can see his face.
exactly,
Um.
exactly.
Yes, I cannot remember his name right
So what
offhand.
do you think about that? Those two.
I I like them together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was having trouble with the grandparents' relationship.
Okay.
That one, Lawrence
Lawrence
Fishburne
Fishburne.
and the lady, I cannot remember her
I can't
name,
remember. She's very always open and
and always
arrogant
just
and
like
lambastic.
boom in
I
your
know
face.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I
That hurt
and
too. The
and
hair just like went.
oh, I know.
You
See,
you
I'm
you almost
sorry.
did just like her too.
I know, but
You could have did
that's
that.
how
Look
abrasive.
at your hand. Look just like her too.
Yeah, that's how abrasive she is in that
Uh
show
huh.
when he's in it. You
Hmm.
know, and
They do battle
yeah,
with one another.
yeah,
They do kind of remind me of more like a Red Fox and who was the other one?
and LaWanda Page, who played his
I
sister-in-law.
know, but they
Yeah,
almost set themselves up
yeah,
of a relationship between a
yeah.
husband and wife, but they were actually family. Okay.
Brother-in-law and sister-in-law.
Exactly.
Yeah, because he married her sister
Yeah.
supposedly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the the young couple, I like their energy together
Mm-hmm.
because they would talk about each other, how stupid certain things were that they were
Mm-hmm.
thinking about, but
Mm-hmm.
they wouldn't do it in such a way of saying you're an idiot, you're ignorant,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. It would
Mm-hmm.
just be like, this got to be funny,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna show you just how funny it is.
Mm-hmm.
But then they could laugh at it together. But the older people, they were like, let's see how much I can let you know how much I don't like you.
Exactly.
And that I had a problem with,
Yeah. Yep.
because that's not setting a good example.
Well, I think the continuation of trying to show that when you are, relating as a relationship as an African American couple in your older age, you really, went about trying to be friends and getting along with one another. It's about just having kids, working a job, and maybe trying to keep the concept of say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud,
Yeah.
and we connect that way. But socially conscious is a little word I can say.
Mhm.
But anything else, being friends, what for?
But
Who said
if
I had to like you? And it
right.
don't take all that
Oh yeah,
anyway.
yeah. But in the way I
Mhm.
see it, if you are divorced and you have decided
Mhm.
to maintain a relationship because of the kids, because of the grandkids,
Mhm.
at least find a place to be cordial. Tap into the friendship that you once had at some point in time, if you did ever have a friendship.
Yeah, yeah. And again, the presentation, I don't know who the writers are, probably not too
Hmm.
many black writers there, but
Yeah.
anyway, to at least make that presentation for the demographics, meaning African Americans are watching, since they call it Blackish.
Mm.
I know what that was all about. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
did.
black, but maybe not,
Well,
something like that.
black, but
Not as black.
but interacting in an assimilationist environment.
Could be.
That's
Well, I
what
mean, that's part of the
that's what it
environment
is.
that
It's like
we all
it,
live
it
in.
indicates that, well, this is just my take
Hmm.
on it. It indicates that need to code switch.
Yeah, at his
You know,
job, he does that to a certain extent. You got a
yeah,
buddy that doesn't code switch too much. A brother who's
right,
buddy, he don't code switch.
right,
But whenever a white guy is around, he'll code switch. And say, I
yeah,
get along with it
yeah.
from that particular. And yeah.
So it's and the schools that the kids are growing up in
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. It's all that you know you're black, but you can't go way over the
Too
black
far.
color line,
Mm-hmm.
as far as
Mm-hmm.
showing flavor,
Mm-hmm.
uh, to to make it or
Mm-hmm.
to be accepted in the other world that they're trying to
The other
exist
culture.
in.
So the
Yeah,
culture. So the culture seems to be the continuation of more assimilation,
yeah,
or all of us becoming mostly what they call American. The only idea of being American is that many times you have to, drop your cultural background.
yeah,
That cultural
yeah.
background could be your wear. It
Mm-hmm.
could be, the jewelry you have. It could be,
Your name.
your name, your hairstyle.
Yeah.
Could be how you inflex with your voice.
Mm-hmm.
Could be how you walk.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Your tone of voice,
Mannerisms.
your whole body
Exactly.
mannerisms
Mannerisms
could have to be changed
especially.
around.
Yeah.
How about this? You might have a hard time being authentic
Exactly.
in that,
And in a
that,
lot of
in that
situations
environment.
you
Yeah,
cannot be.
yeah, you're right about that.
You either you have to decide if you're going to eat or sell out to sell
You
out
said
to eat,
eat.
sell out to eat, or just be who you are, and
What
not
what does the eat have to do with it?
um eh, as far as having a
Lunchtime,
job so that you
you
can
can have lunch with them. You can
sup-
have lunch, go
no, no, no,
someplace
no.
else, have
I'm
lunch.
talking about so you can have money to support yourself.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Well,
yeah.
that's where
Having a
that's where you try to start your own business. You
yeah,
start your own
yeah.
business, and then you don't necessarily have to. You have to interface just like any other
Mhm.
country, any other kind of a business or neighborhood. You have
Mhm.
to interface with other particular cultures,
Absolutely.
as has always been when it comes
Definitely.
to merchandising.
Mhm.
I mean, Africa, starting from Morocco, did a lot of
Yeah.
business with people all over the world and still doing
Mhm.
that right now.
Yeah.
So they were different culture, different background. That's a commonplace for them to share,
Mhm.
what's it, products with one
Exactly.
another.
But
But you didn't change and lose your cultural
right,
background
right.
just because of that.
But if you're going to do that and you're
Mhm.
in relationship, then there has to be some compatibility between you and that other person so that
That's
you
true.
can
I like how
be
you put
on
it.
the same
I like how you
page.
put that brought us back around. That's
Yeah.
very good. And I think about how there was a friend of mine who was from New York, and he was dating and was going to get married to a lady in New York, but she lived in the city of New York, and he lived in the country of New York.
Yeah.
And remember, I told you the story about how
Well,
she
I
had a
remember that. I
son.
was there too.
She had a
Yeah.
son. He used to write for me
Yeah.
when I did the Taking the Journey a long time ago. I remember on his
Mm.
50th birthday,
Yeah.
he did the bucket list and he jumped out of a plane,
Skydive
skydive
was
out of a
yeah.
plane. So this brother was dating a sister in New York, and basically her son would come stay with him on the weekends.
Hmm.
And when he comes stay with the weekends, he give him more
No,
open
no, no.
reign.
She would go. He would go and visit them on the weekends. And
No,
okay,
no. This I'm going to. This is
okay.
to show the cultural difference. So when he was with when she was with him, and it could have been the other way around. All I know is that the young man didn't have to worry about going outside. He could play and enjoy himself. Okay, but when he was with her in her neighborhood, in New York, in the hood, in so many words, he couldn't do that. And
Hmm.
he would bring that up to her. She would bring it up to him and said, "Why do you give this boy this idea? And why do you let him go out and play around? You know that's not the right thing for him to do. He could get hurt, and yada yada yada." And so they have an argument all the time over it because the cultural difference was she, of course, lived in the city,
Yeah.
in the hood, in a neighborhood where that possibility was very real.
Hmm.
His gangs were around there. It was the best neighborhood whatsoever.
Yeah.
He lived upper scale New York when really that was not a concern or a problem.
Right.
So he would, have a different mindset of how this lifestyle could be for this young man.
Hmm.
And it caused a conflict between the two. And of course, it caused it so that they broke up. And that was a experience that I took a look at as I observed relationships that said that sometimes our cultural backgrounds, even within our same
Yes.
race, if you
Yeah.
may want to use that
Yeah.
construct, can cause a problem of a lack of what? Compatibility.
Exactly.
And that compatibility was very real. And it made it hard for them to keep that relationship
Hmm.
going. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we often find that people are not we're not equipped to work our way through
Mm-hmm.
because we don't have the examples. We don't have a lot of examples of people who are compatible in the first place, and that's one of those things that we're looking at here. We're being able to adjust and resolve conflicts.
Yes.
Um, we understand conflicts, but we're always, we often, as you say, have to make that choice. Do you want to be right or do you want a relationship?
Yes.
And far too often, both sides want to be right and they
Mm.
forget about the need for the relationship.
Yeah. An old guy told me that from years ago. Um, as I was a young man, I still probably do it now. Once in a while, argue about, I think I was right with what I was saying, and
Mhm.
and yada yada yada. And he was trying to make sense to me about what I said. The sense in this particular case is how much facts are correct with what you're saying, because I could tell you some things from my age that may not necessarily be true about your facts
Mhm.
that you think you know so much about. And it went into a heated argument, and he just pretty much stopped and real quickly said, "So do you want to be right or do you want a relationship?"
Yeah.
And at that point when he said that, after doing that back and forth, I understood what he said.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wow, I was too busy wanting to be mostly right. I didn't want a relationship.
Yeah.
So it gave a better understanding that, hey, in a relationship, there's no such thing as really perfect. not
Mm-hmm.
everyone is going to be setting on right. In
Right.
fact, the relationship in itself, since it's not perfect, can't be set on that
Right.
which is right from the standpoint of one person is right, the other person is wrong.
Mhm.
It's
And
got to be set on, do you really want this relationship?
yeah,
Some things you have to
and
suck up.
even if you are right,
Mhm.
no matter what, you may have to let your rightness go and just know
Swallow your pride.
and know within yourself
Swallow
that
your
you were
pride.
right. Yeah,
And keep your dignity.
yeah. To have a
Hard
relationship,
thing for sisters to do,
it's
to swallow the pride
you know
and keep the dignity.
it's
Unless you're an alpha male, then you don't want to swallow no
Yeah,
pride. You
but-
think you ain't right about it.
Yeah.
See, you wrong about anything.
and that's what I was going to say. It's hard for people, regardless of gender,
Mm-hmm.
to swallow their pride sometimes,
Let me say they're
especially
wrong.
especially if they're a person who
Mm-hmm.
has been told they were wrong a lot, or
Ah,
a person who has not gotten the credit when they were right.
okay. Oh, that I like that. That's some people up there. If you're listening, maybe you have that as your backstory when it comes to it. You know, someone's always been critical with you, starting from your mom or your dad, or it could be the husband you're with now, or boyfriend you're with now, or girlfriend, who's always being critical with you, giving you the impression every time you say something that you believe, that you feel, that you think about, and always questioning it and being critical about it.
Or
And
if it's different from their
exactly.
belief.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard for you to feel comfortable in the matter. So
Mhm.
you're like, I'm gonna always make sure I stand up for it because I've had this happen for years.
Yeah.
I like that backstory, because I was going to say, well, on that particular matter, when that happens, that's definitely a dysfunction incomfortable in the relationship that's
Mhm.
happening on your side. Number one, where you had that happen,
Mhm.
and number two, if that other person doesn't understand, it's a dysfunction. I would say
Right.
out of that, bridge statements open up, as you just talked about,
Mhm.
the help in that relationship, where you speak about that backstory.
Right.
You talk about that backstory and say, that's why this happened. That's why I feel this way. Can you be a bit more understanding and patient with me when I speak about this, and not be so critical,
Mhm.
and then not you feel that I always feel like I gotta be right, because I
Yeah.
want a relationship.
Yeah.
And part of that relationship is I want you to be able to hear me out.
Exactly.
Isn't that part of a relationship?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. But you have to
Mhm.
do it before the other person gets to the point
Mhm.
that they're so adamant they can't hear you anymore.
Exactly.
You know, which becomes um, a stick a sticking point, which means you're either about to go into a serious argument,
Mm-hmm.
or you're about to walk away hurt.
That's true. That's true.
You know, with your feelings hurt, because once again you're not being heard,
Yeah. Yeah.
or your point of view is not even being considered.
And then there's others who basically, because of just pure pride and arrogance, they just feel that anything and everything they say is just right, period.
Exactly.
And that's just how it
Yeah.
goes.
They know everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. From that particular. And do we want to talk about the backstory behind that one? Do we really care?
We can, but we need to pay some bills.
Oh, we need to pay some bills.
We need to pay some bills.
Yeah, someone told us that we need to pay some bills, so we're going to go and pay a bill. It's a commercial, so hopefully
Yeah.
you enjoy this commercial.
Well, there are two of them.
Well, two of them,
And we'll be back.
We'll be back. Wow, man, that was so different, and exciting for us to
I
see that
I
on the
got all
show.
caught into it.
It was very, very good. Two good
It
commercials, wasn't
was.
that?
Yes,
Oh wow.
yes.
Yeah. So we got some sponsors now
And
that
that
are sponsoring our shows. Wow. Make sure that you OBM clothing commercial, and of course our number one network that you're on right now,
is
our Black
all
Network.
yeah, I couldn't say
Our Black
hour for whatever
Network. I know
reason.
you just shocked by the
Our
commercials we're doing.
I know they were so amazing.
Exactly. Hey,
Yes.
by the way, too, you can always go to your
Roku.
Roku
Roku.
TV, and go to your platform, search for All Black what?
Our Black
Our
Media.
Black Media, and then download it, okay, onto your Roku platform, and start watching the past shows. We'll be going live pretty soon. And of course, go to the what lineup?
The community.
Yeah, community lineup, and find Taking the Journey Together. You'll find a couple of shows there. You get to see it
Some of our past shows.
from our past shows up on your TV in a big expansion way. We're kind of growing up right now, so we'd love to have you be able to do that and experience that as we have, and kind of keep up with us. We're going places. We're moving places.
Feels good to be a part of that growing process.
It is.
Yes.
It definitely is. So we are back on the compatibility. We were talking about compatibility.
Yeah, we were talking about resolving conflicts and how to handle that, which is one of the things that is important if you are, and it's easier if you're in a compatible relationship. If both of you are compatible. And again, if there's someone who just joined us, we are taking the journey together. And I am Zare or Sharon, and I am sitting here with my wonderful, handsome husband, Imar or Craig.
Yes, and we're talking about compatibility.
Yes.
And the adjustments of how do you adjust relationships? Do these disputes happens all the time in relationships. That's why we understand when people want to ideally say that, well, if you got a good relationship going on and it was running on all cylinders, you don't have any disputes in that relationship.
Yeah.
That is BS.
That is definitely
BS. That is just not true whatsoever. You are going to have that. And you get me a relationship that in turn presents that. Shoot, I would get with them with the camera 24 hours in that relationship and no one's seen me, and I'll get it on tape.
Yeah. and you would need to
without as Howard Cosell would do to Muhammad Ali. What would that be?
I don't know.
He was always antagonizing
Muhammad Ali. He was
an old day.
He would. And they would antagonize each other, and it was just a running joke.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
So I won't antagonize him to get it out of them. It will just come out. I mean, that's part of a relationship.
And it's not about not having a disagreement. It is what you do with that disagreement. Arguing is just one of those things that's going to happen because you're not going to, no matter how compatible you are, you're not going to be on the same page with everything. Your background, your upbringing, the experiences that you've had before you got together are going to cause you to not see eye to eye on certain things. But it's what you do with that disagreement while you're in it and when it's over. True transparency. We have come on to do the show sometime where right before the show, it was like, I don't like you. I don't want to talk to you. I need to go. One of us need to go to another room so that we can take a deep breath and do some woosah and come back and see what's what. But we don't have time to do that. So we start the show, but then we find that place where we are connected to one another, and that compatibility brings us right back together so that we are able later to deal with it in a different format.
Candid discussions are the best way to move forward. And our show allows us to have candid discussions right in front of you. And that's how relationships should have when you're in, not only when you're having a conflict, because sometimes that's hard. So you need to practice that when you don't have those times when you have a disagreement. In fact, if you have a lot of candid conversations using the HOT principle, honest, open, and transparent, you have less conflicts. And when you do have those conflicts, because it's not about things not being perfect, it won't necessarily escalate so
Right.
far, so high that it becomes very abusive and
Mhm.
very toxic in a relationship.
Yes.
It's another way of saying it's not always rainbows. Another way that people say about this, it's not always rainbows and butterflies.
Mhm.
It's compromising that moves us along. Again, it's not
Yes.
always rainbows and butterflies, but it's compromise.
Mhm.
Again,
And not capitulation.
that's going to say not a capitulation. You get too
No.
much capitulation in a relationship. That
Then you
that's not a
build
balance.
animosity.
Yeah, exactly.
And animosity leads to hatred, which leads to, you don't want to go down that road at all.
No, you would try not to. You try
Yeah.
not. That's you mostly operating in the survival mode.
Yeah.
Survival mode. Most people are just not compromising, but capitulating with one
Mhm.
another.
Yeah. Going along to get along.
So, on the other hand, if you both are incompatible, it takes no time for disputes to turn into what we talked about,
Uh-huh.
disagreements, and what
That may drag
Drag-
on and on and on.
sometimes for years.
Yeah.
I know of a couple of relationships that who have been with each other for a long time,
Mhm.
and you can tell by the look on their face, you can tell by how they act to one another, and then you hear from them once in a while, their kids, they have shut down years ago
Yeah.
over either a child of theirs that
Mhm.
didn't get along, or how they treated another child,
Mhm.
or what's that?
Or just disagreeing
Mhm.
in the basic running of the house,
Mhm, mhm.
something simple as what seems simple as I want a new dining room set. No, there's nothing wrong with the dining room set we have. Then the other person goes out and gets a new dining room set anyway, and it's over.
Yeah.
Something that we would think is simple, but you don't know what the backstory is to
Mhm.
why that became such an issue, and they didn't talk about it, so they don't know either.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of those times when you say it's the devil is in the details.
Yeah.
and no one really wants to talk about those
Mhm.
I think a lot of times when those situations happen, when it's been for years, going back to the foundation of a thriving, healthy relationship, I don't think friendship was really something that was strong there in the
No.
first place. So it was easy for it to, not necessarily easy, but it's almost like it was in the cards for it to turn, that if a conflict like that happened, if it was shallow or deep, whatever it
It
may
was going to
be,
be over.
it was going to be over.
Yeah.
They didn't have much
Yeah.
of a foundation in the first
Yeah.
place.
That's like I had a friend that whose marriage ended. Well, first of all, you should never give somebody an ultimatum
Mm-hmm.
to get married.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't get engaged, then I'm moving out. Well, no, that's all wrong to start with.
Mm-hmm.
But then they had a big blow up because he wanted her to quit work and and go to school. She did not like school, did not want to go to school, did not want to quit work. They had a big argument over that and ended up about a year later they were divorced
Mm-hmm.
because she didn't want to go to school. It's like, give me that opportunity, to
Mm-hmm.
just be able to just focus on school. But that was not where she wanted to be. But I found out later that it was because when he had like a, a master's or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, and she felt like because she had not been to college, that him wanting her to go to college was him saying that she wasn't good enough.
Oh.
But she didn't tell him that.
Mm.
It was just, I don't like school. I don't want to go to school. Why are you trying to make me go to school? That type of thing. And they separated and then they were divorced. All she had to say was, so am I not good enough for you because I don't have an education? Maybe that was it, but at least she would have known,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to talk
Well,
things out.
that would be a bridge statement, almost like a good bridge statement, to have been given
Mhm.
from that end. I think
Yeah.
the continuation in the bridge statement, because we talked about bridge statements before, would have
Yeah.
been because if you do feel that way, that makes me feel uncomfortable,
Mhm.
and as if you really don't love me in this
Right.
relationship.
Yeah.
And so we have to have a question: why am I in this relationship if that's
Mhm.
what you really feel?
Yeah.
And he could come out and say, well, because I think that an education will uplift you and expand your mind.
Mhm.
And because of the fact that I love and care about you, I know that you have the potential, that you're really having it, how can I say it, discovered
Yeah.
or a venture to look into.
Mhm.
And this particular way or route could be a very good way to do as education is set up to
Yeah.
be. Now, maybe what I'm asking for you to get into may not be comfortable. Let's look at some other ones.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, um, then there's so many other opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
but you've got to um think about it, and
So, what do you think
look
about what I
into it.
just said, real
I
quickly?
think I think what you just said was what they really needed.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it back to,
Why is there
in
a but?
addition, in
Why is there a
because
but? Because your last name is Butts?
no, because there's something else that you
Oh,
said
okay.
that I think was really underlying the whole
Oh,
thing.
what was that?
They were not the friends that they thought they were.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. When I made that bridge statement, as you
Mhm.
did, I was hoping that there was a friendship that was
Yeah.
underlying,
I don't
because
think.
I don't know the people
Yeah.
as you do.
I.
So it
I.
was just them not having the skills, the
Mhm.
understanding, and experience of using bridge statements
Yeah.
as examples. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like
Right.
theoretical based on your actual
Yeah.
experience. So you're saying they basically were friends that you love
Right.
in the
They
first place.
liked each other,
Hmm.
but they didn't have that um camaraderie. They didn't
Okay,
have that friendship, and they were
more like
not
associates.
right, and they were not working on compatibility
Oh, okay.
because y- they each had separate jobs that were not connected to each other, that they
Hmm.
couldn't really talk to each other on the same level, and they really were not um they were not building together that way, you
Okay.
know.
Okay.
So I think they were doing like a lot of young couples do.
Hmm.
Well, we've been together a while, we should get married. We get married, we should have children. We have children, we have to buy a house, and we go down that road.
Yeah, the white picket
Mhm.
fence
Yeah.
was a turkey in the oven, and you know the
Whatever.
rest.
Yeah. But there's nothing in there about building that friendship.
Yeah, building the relationship
Yeah.
itself. It's like the material things around you
Right.
will
Yes.
somehow by osmosis
Exactly.
get into you, and
Or
you'll be so happy with one another
right.
because of that.
Or
Yeah.
his dreams are more important, or
Hmm.
her dreams are more important than the relationship. And
Yeah.
so the relationships tends to lag behind,
Behind.
or suffer in lieu of not get it starves.
Mm.
The relationship starves.
And I think the note that I hear in my head, and maybe some of you guys have heard it too, or ladies out there hear this, is that the idea, and I use the word the idea, in a healthy, thriving relationship is we are the relationship.
Yes.
We are, you
Mm-hmm.
and me are the
Right.
relationship,
Right.
not, as you just said, the relationship is out there,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
we're here. And
Yes.
I know some will listen to it like, yeah, no brainer. But yet, and many times,
It's
that's what's going on.
right.
That relationship is not the two.
Right.
It's an idea that someone's
Mm-hmm.
thinking of, knight in white shining
Mm-hmm.
armor, that picket fence.
Yeah.
They're trying to move to. They have an image of that person
Mm-hmm.
that's really not them at
We
all. So
we
they're not really have a
we want to get
relationship.
to a six-figure salary
Mm-hmm.
together.
Yeah.
Six figure?
Mhm.
No, I don't know, whatever the figure is now.
Yeah.
But what you're going to do in the meantime to build on the relationship
Mhm.
while you're trying to build your finances and building your social status and everything, what's the point if you're not building the relationship along
Yeah.
with it?
Yeah. What
You
the
know?
real point is,
Yeah.
what's the point if you don't think you are the relationship?
Exactly. Exactly.
You are. So whether I'm doing nothing at all and you're doing nothing at all, you are the relationship.
Right.
And those who, oh, was that nothing thing? How about we use this? If I'm sick and I have cancer and connected and with you, then me and you are still are the relationship.
Yes.
I think sometimes we don't want to get into what happens if we are, was it disability?
I'm disabled.
Disabled.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to that commitment of
Right.
good or bad,
Yeah.
sickness or health.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, we all have to be healthy. You all have to not get older.
We have to be ready to have fun. We have to be
Exactly, at all
yeah.
times. So those kind of
Yeah.
things when it happen, then there's no more compatibility anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real friendship. There's no connection anymore. So therefore, we don't have a relationship. So that means there never was a thought that we are the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
What we create, we are that relationship.
Right.
And as you would think, as grown people who are supposed to be, as some young man said to me one time, I'm a grown man, dog. or some women say I'm a grown ass woman and I got my granny my big girl panties on.
Yes.
But many times in a relationship we don't even act like this is our relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We can move and do and take what we feel or do what we feel or relate what we feel because it is our relationship. Right. It is our power of how we relate together.
But instead we allow outside forces to come in and influence it. We allow, a bad day at work to be a bad day at home. Instead of leaving it at the door, instead of leaving it in the car, instead of leaving it at the job, we allow these things to infiltrate kids too,
especially our kids.
Yes. And don't let the dog be in the wrong place and we trip over the dog. But instead of building up each other, because okay, I had a hard day today, but I had a hard day yesterday too. So let me check on you and deal with your hard day today. Because you know what I'm saying? Putting things into perspective and understanding that we got to be working together and working things out. And then maybe the bad day at the job or the something stupid that somebody said that set me off is not as important.
So why do we do that then?
Because we get locked up in our ego, and
no. Why should we do what you just got through saying?
Because we're the relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd test you real quick.
Oh, please. No, I'm right there.
Pop your collar.
Yeah.
But I don't emphasize it again because from my experience and my observations, especially in our community, the Black community, the understanding of empowerment, which we have a lot of lack of empowerment because of racism is dead and all of it, that trauma that has been impacted on our relationship or our community, family community. I think many times we don't take that empowerment and understand the empowerment that it can be and should be taken in your relationship, not just for your own self, for what you want to do, no doubt about it, but you also can take that empowerment and it comes to your connection in your relationship or relationships that you have a right to say, this is our relationship. And we have a right to our boundaries and what we think and what we want according to our relationship, what we both agree upon, but what we both feel at the same time. I think that's very important in our Black community to go forth in moving that kind of way. Yeah,
I definitely agree with that.
And that's a compatibility statement that you could take with you, and hopefully
you can find.
Hopefully you can find someone who feels the same way as we do when it comes to that kind of compatibility. That you have a right in a relationship to both be compatible in the area of that we have a right to our relationship and how we want to operate a relationship based together and what we feel and what we think. And it's really nobody else. I'm gonna say nobody else's business, but there's no one else that has that empowerment but us, because it's us who is the relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, how much time we got left?
We've got about 6 minutes.
6 minutes? We do?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we do. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I didn't see that. Wow. Okay. 6 minutes. Let's go real quickly and let us know that we also do stuff on the River Street.
Yes,
doing on the third weekend of the month. Yes, we are. Gully Geechee community is what we're doing. We're getting ready to get into a good relationship with another transportation company. I won't say it as of yet until it happens. They'll be down there on River Street with us from the 21st to the 23rd. We do that from 11 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night on Friday and Saturday. And on Sunday, it's 11 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night. So come on down on River Street. You got any vending you want to do? We would love to have you come on River Street. Call that particular number, 912-495-8838. Or go to our website, www.unity.com. Get you some information, and we'd love to have you come down and vend with us on River Street. We need more vendors that look like us on River Street anyway.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
definitely.
And
definitely.
all of the information for vendors is online, so you can just fill out the application and
Yeah.
everything right there
You
online.
want to do that one? That's what that one.
And in addition to that, you can also hear us
Mm-hmm.
on Taking the Journey Together on WRUU on Saturday mornings. Did I go to the wrong one?
No, this is Taking the
Oh.
Journey one. It's not WRU. This is our regular
Oh,
website.
okay, the
that we have.
website.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the Journey together.com.
Email us with any questions as you can at ttjt@takingthejourney-together.com. Go to Facebook and you can get us at ttj together. Instagram, we got one on Instagram.
Yeah.
I guess we do. I didn't know. I don't go to it much. I guess, but Instagram, you can catch us there too at the same time. Nan, okay, I'm gonna let you do this one by yourself.
Okay. Okay.
Wow.
No, I
Forget it.
shouldn't have started reading because I looked at the wrong time. We are on WRUU radio at I just said it a minute ago.
I
and
know
then
it.
looked
That's
up and
right.
found
That
I
was
was
right
on
in
the
front of
wrong
you.
one.
Oh my God.
WRUU Saturday mornings
Uh-huh.
at 9 o'clock from
Mhm.
9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are talking about compatibility there too,
Mhm.
but we're talking about it in a different way, which is what we always do. It's all about healthy and thriving relationships. We are at WRUU.org.
Yes, WRUU.org. Hey, we're looking forward to one time to be able to get a chance to meet some of you out there still trying to work on some kind of dinner, some kind of diner, some kind of breakfast. Anybody out there who's got a dinner or diner place that you would love to be able to do a relationship show and connection, taking the journey, get a chance to meet us so we can do our dynamic duel as we do and in life, and of course especially if we're trying to help people out in relationships, please give us a name of that place.
Yes,
We'd
and-
love to talk to our owner and make it happen. We feel we can get your place, has a couple of people in it, hopefully,
Yeah.
who will fill it and patronize your place back, enjoy what you're cooking. Preferably it's a restaurant.
Yes.
If not, maybe there's a church or community center that'd love to pass on some information to young folks or your group on relationships. We'd be glad to be able to help you out with that.
And the same thing,
yeah.
because we want to do another date night also.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you got our information there that should be able to help you out from that end. Where are we at still? Oh, we still got a
have
little
about
time.
3 minutes.
3
left.
minutes. Man, that went
Yeah.
quick. I thought that we'd be doing
No.
and over with.
no.
Okay. So both share what? Most of the things. They're sharing the most things. I'm telling you, her name is Sharon, and we love you, girl. But when it comes to sharing food, this sister act like she been in, the favorite dress is called orange.
Okay.
She do not like sharing her food.
You know why?
Ever since I first met her, I thought she's been in jail before the way she acts.
It's because here's the backstory.
Okay.
I have always been a slow eater.
Okay.
Always. And
Except for
so
when it's ribs, but anyway.
even that, I'm slow with that too.
Okay.
But I eat a lot of them, but I am slow doing it.
Okay.
But I fill up easily too, and I have always done that, or either I've run out of time, and so I always have leftovers. But
Mhm.
my leftovers, I always look forward to going back to get them.
Oh, so this is something
But-
you never told me.
But I have also, I told you this some
I
time
don't
back.
remember it.
But I also have had issues where I go back for my leftovers, and they're not there. Somebody has taken them for lunch. Somebody
I'm talking
has.
about while you're eating right on the spot. You don't like to me picking your food and sharing your
Yeah,
food. You don't want to share it.
Because people,
Hey, we talking about
okay.
being able to share
I know.
most
You know what?
of the things.
I will share. I share most things. My food,
Uh,
I
now
love
the
to.
truth come out.
That's what
Now
I'm
the
saying.
truth
I
come out.
love to eat,
And even though we talked about it,
I
you
know.
Oh, I'll share
and
the
I'm
food with you."
working on it.
I couldn't tell.
But you have to admit, I'm working on it. Now I love waffles, but I am getting better at sharing my waffles with
I only
you.
do that just to test you because I'm not a big waffle eater.
But I
And
still
I like French toast and what's that?
and pancakes.
And pancakes.
I know.
And I mean some pancakes.
I know.
Flapjacks.
Yeah, whatever they call. But I love waffles. But I share my
Mhm.
waffles with you.
A little bit.
I shared my what was that?
What's that?
Hash browns with you
Hash
once.
brown?
Yes, the other day, not long ago. But anyway,
Okay.
it is definitely. I will share almost everything. I don't know what it is about my food. Probably because I love I love to eat. You can look at me and
You
tell
told
I
me it's
love to
because
eat.
when you were at home, they didn't leave you much
That's
food and left it to the
that's
side, and I don't know what that was.
that's true.
Poor
That's
child.
that's with my leftovers.
Hmm.
That's with my leftovers. And but eating it off my plate, sometimes I'm okay with that, depending on what it
Mhm.
is. Don't touch my ribs.
That's funny. Okay, we got to end the show. Till next time, God bless. Ashe, till we see you again. Take that journey together.
like this.